Okay, welcome to the show. I'm Tony. This Pops. As we get into it, the Spurs eliminate the Timberwolves 139 to 109. Castle led both teams in scoring with 32. Wemby pitched in with 19. Champagne gave him 18. Fox gave him 21. They was just too much for the Timberwolves. They was relentless. Moving on to the Western Conference Finals to face the Thunder, who's 8-0 in the postseason. The Spurs 4-1 against the Thunder in the regular season, Pops. I don't know if that's gonna matter for the postseason, but who you like in this series?
I'm taking the Spurs. You know, I told you that I put a couple dollars on the Spurs, so I have to roll with them. By default, but it's really not by default. It's by confidence that I know that they're gonna win that series. And yeah, like you said, it's the playoffs. They won 4 games to 2 in the regular season, I believe,
Four to
or
one.
maybe 4 to 1. So yeah, it's gonna be a dog fight. Plus, OKC, has home court advantage. So that's why I'm taking SAS in 7. They have the ultimate weapon in Wemby. They just don't have an answer for him. And as you can see, some nights he only needs to score 19.
Right.
Pass Fox. You got the elder Barnes coming off the bench. He'll, give you 9 points with three pointers, and they're loaded over there, So for that reason, I'm taking the Spurs.
Yeah, they loaded and they got Dylan Harper coming off the bench. He gave him 15. So,
I see. Praise. I forgot about Hopper.
but I'm gonna have to. This gonna be a tough series, but I'm gonna take the Thunder in 7. I'm gonna take OKC. I'm gonna take their championship experience. I like how they playing right now. They deep too, and they could defend. They kind of done played the Lakers and the Suns, but the Spurs are different beasts. But I'm gonna take OKC. I feel like SGA, he gonna have one of the series of his life. He can't have the series he had against the Lakers or they going home. But I do like them. I'm not really concerned about what happened in the regular season because the regular season never really affects what happens in the postseason. Because when D Rose was with the Bulls in his prime, we used to beat LeBron in the Heat all the time in the regular season. When we got to the playoffs, we couldn't do nothing with them boys. So I'm not really concerned about what went down in the regular season. But I'm gonna take the Thunder in 7. It's gonna go either way. But I just don't. I think it's gonna be hard to beat the Thunder in a 7-game series when they got home court advantage.
If it was any other team, I would agree with you. But like I said, they have the ultimate weapon. If they need that dude to go off for 50, who's gonna stop them from getting it?
No, hopefully Chet. They got a little rivalry right there, but I don't even know if
Uh,
it's a rivalry because Chet not even in his ballpark. But
right. Chet probably need to go maybe to Atlanta or somewhere over there. Because they need a center over there.
now we can't
You
let
know,
Chet lead the Thunder. We just paid him.
right? So he's not going anywhere. But yeah, they need dude to go out there and get 50 and 20 and 12 and 8. Who's gonna stop him from getting that?
Yeah.
So that's what probably, I'm gonna give OKC some respect, in my heart. I'm really saying 6 San Antonio Spurs, but I'm gonna give them some respect, because they have home court advantage and they have maybe the 2-time MVP over there. You know, I'm gonna say 7 games.
You got them. You think they can steal the first game? I think that first game gonna dictate a lot.
OKC, they're gonna come out with everything they have that first game. So I'm gonna give that first game to OKC because they have a point to prove. They lost 4 games to 1 in the season. Like you said, it's the playoffs. They want to come out and show that it's the playoffs now. That regular season stuff, that doesn't matter now. What's up? So they're gonna come out with the wind behind their backs and with their chest poked out. And yeah, I think they're gonna take game 1. Like I said, it's gonna go 7. So
So you
with
think they're
that
gonna beat them?
game, huh?
Yeah, I think it's gonna go 7-2 though. But I think I really would like for them to have J-Dub, Jalen Williams. I don't know if he gonna be playing. That's why I'm a little iffy. If J-Dub was playing, I'd be more confident in my pick. But he gonna be out. I don't know if he might come back. But he was dealing with that hamstring problem. But he been out since the first round, so he should be ready by now.
Hamstring, that's kind of tricky because you could re-injure that. If it's not 100%, then they recommend you don't play on it. So they're deep enough, but I agree with the medical staff there by sitting them out.
Yeah, they coulda sit you they could sit them out versus the Suns and the Lakers. We don't need you for them. But for the
Right.
Spurs, we need you. But I just read an article that just say Jalen Williams confirmed he's healthy entering the Western Conference Finals. So I feel like
And
that's gonna be that's big for the Thunder. That's big for them.
you and you're right about that. This is like the championship round. So even if he's 75%, he got to get out there and play.
You gotta play. 'Cause I feel like whoever win this series gonna win the championship. I don't think nobody
Exactly.
coming out the East beating one of
Right.
the teams. So whoever this is the championship. We win this series, we should win a championship. But I'm not mad that you picked the Spurs because I ain't gonna I'm nervous with my pick. I won't put no money behind this series because I feel like it can go either way. Cause they do got that 7'5" alien over there. I feel like next year it's gonna be his league. We can debate about who the best player right now, but next year I feel like it ain't gonna be no debate. So and then he got the players around him.
Yeah. They did a hell of a job, putting that team together.
Yeah, they did. The jump they made from last year to this year is crazy.
Yeah, they got the right pieces around them. They don't have everybody knows their role.
Yeah,
You know, they know who to get a ball to when it's time. Fox had his own team at one time.
he did.
Castle and what's the other guy name? Basile or
Yeah, but
Bass? Yeah, those two guys could go somewhere and be a one or a two somewhere.
yeah,
So they did a hell of a job putting players around him with no ego. You know what I mean? Because that's what ruined a lot of teams. Everybody like, man, look, I could do this and I could do that. So, that's what throw a lot of teams off. But this team here seem to have chemistry and like I said, there's no ego. That's why I think they're gonna win the championship. They know what OKC represent, you know. They know exactly who OKC is. So they know they got to come with it. They match up very well with OKC. And man, this is gonna be a dog fight.
it's gonna be a heck of a series. I
Dog
agree.
fight. And I hope it's like 90s ball, because like I said, they let Wemby get away with that elbow, you know, didn't suspend him. So I hope they allow them to play like 90s ball. This is for the marbles right here. This is for all of 'em.
Yeah,
So look, hope they let them get down.
especially with that rivalry with him and Chet, I could see them playing a little physical with each other. So you probably
Uh,
get that.
yeah, I'm looking for him and Shea going bucket for bucket in crunch time. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Chet, yeah, he's gonna have his time to shine, but it's gonna come down to Shea and Wemby though.
The thing about this series too, I just don't know how much you can play Hartenstein though, because he can't shoot the three, and that's gonna allow Wemby to just play free safety and sit in the hole. Well, if you
You put
sub him out with Jalen William or there's somebody else over there, but if you sub him out for somebody who could shoot a three, you can kind of bring him away from the hoop.
they're gonna use him to send a message, I believe.
Who?
Because like Stein,
Okay.
you know, because like you said, he's not a shooter like that. He's not a threat like that. So he's gonna be out there to play some hard ball, rebound, play some hard defense, hard fouls. So he's gonna get it. When guys are tired, he's gonna get the chance to go in there and be able to do his thing.
Yeah, he got a nice little touch around the rim too. That little floater he got, it be falling, and he a smart
Yeah,
basketball player. But I just
yeah.
don't want Wemby playing at the rim. It's gonna be so hard to drive to the cup and attack the rim with him contesting every shot. Like even if he don't block the shot, he can alter your shot so much. Like we gotta get him away from that rim, or it's gonna be a problem.
And who do they have that? Well, you say check. Check and shoot the three. Check is gonna get him away from the rim.
Yeah, but if Harkenstein on the floor with Chet, because that's who they usually run them two bigs, they gonna put Wemby on Harkenstein so he can just guard the hole and swat everything away.
Uh-huh.
Might have to play Chet and the other Jalen Williams. 'Cause they got two Jalen Williams. The big man Jalen Williams, he can shoot threes. So you probably gonna have to play them together more so than Chet and Harkenstein.
They're gonna have to play small.
Yeah.
Arnstein, no, this like I said, this is gonna be He's only going to get in for specialty situations because they got to play small against the Spurs. So yeah.
Yeah, we gonna like you said, it's gonna be a dog fight. It's gonna be an interesting series. I got it going 7 for sure. And I can't wait till that series start. But the Pistons beat the Cavs 115-94 to push it to game 7. I felt like this was the Cavs game 7. Going back to Detroit, I just can't see the Cavs winning game 7 in Detroit. The Cavs supposed to close them out this game 6. But for game 7, Pops, who you rolling with? Cavs or the Pistons?
Uh, you know, uh, I put a couple dollars on the Pistons last night to win that game. So,
You again.
even though I wanted the Cavs to win, I was happy, Detroit won. I put a couple dollars on them and I put a couple dollars on San Antonio. I had a two-leg combo, so I was hoping those teams won. But for game 7, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with man, if James Harden, because I already know what Spider was gonna do. He's gonna come out, you know, I could see him giving us 38. And but if James Harden could give him 25 to 30, I'm gonna take the Cavs. But if James Harden comes out and stinks up the joint, I'm going with Detroit.
Game 7, shoot. What's more likely with James Harden? Stinking that joint up?
Exactly. That's I'm hoping we're gonna get into that later in the session, but I'm hoping man, that's not the case, man.
Yeah. Last game, he had 23 points, shot 6 from 13, 3-8 from the field. He had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. He had 8 turnovers. That's what been killing him this playoffs. Them turnovers. He turned the ball over way too much. And this is another game where he had more turnovers than field goals. I seen a stat where he didn't have 30 playoff games like that where he didn't have more turnovers than made field goals. James Harden too good of a player to have a stat like that. That's an all-time great. And you got
Exactly.
a stat like that. That's a stat somebody like JaVale McGee supposed to have. That's not a stat James Harden supposed to have. That's
Exactly.
crazy. That's crazy. And there was some talk going around him or D Wade earlier this year, and I was kind of like, I think Harden might be better than D Wade, but man, I was crazy. Harden ain't better
Nah,
than D Wade.
nah, yeah, I can't believe you even thought that. Just look at clutch situations. You just said what's likely, in a game 7 with James Harden. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put D Wade in those same situations. You was crazy for even thinking that.
I got caught up in the numbers, when he was at Houston, the 60-point triple doubles, the 40-point games, the 50-point games. I'm like, you know what, D Wade never was doing stuff like that. But
Now, if you want to, if we're talking about scoring, yeah,
yeah,
you go with James Harden. But if I own a franchise and I'm talking about winning, I'm gonna go with D Wade.
I agree. I agree. I can't argue that because when you really need it, when you push all your chips to the table, you can't trust James Harden. You can't trust him. You will lose all your money, and that's just the reality of it. And Donovan Mitchell ain't even do nothing crazy this game either. He went 6 for 20 for 18 points.
Right.
He stunk the joint up game 6, so he can't do that game 7 or they going home.
He tried to turn it up, but it was a little too late.
Yeah,
It got out of hand real fast. But that's another reason even though they were at home, I still went with Detroit because, like you said, James Harden, when the game, it's an elimination game, most likely he's gonna, have a bad game. So I was hoping that was his bad game. And game 7, he come back and give us 25 or 30. So that's why I went with Detroit yesterday because I had that feeling. James Harden's gonna stink up the joint, but he got the chance to redeem himself tomorrow.
right. But I feel like the Pistons only got one person who can really get buckets for real. That's why I'm not. It's Cade. If you just lock Cade up, they can't win. But the problem is they don't got nobody who can guard Cade. Because James Harden, Donovan Mitchell cannot guard him. He can get anything he want on them. But he got some good he got some good help yesterday. Paul Reed gave him 17. Duncan Robinson gave him 14. Jenkins gave him 15. Doran had 15 and 11. And he been playing bad all playoffs, so they needed that. That's the Cavs' best. The Cavs' best chance is to hope Cade cold. Because if Cade stank up the joint, Pistons can't win. They can only win when he have good games. He didn't even have a crazy game though, but he got help from the others, which usually don't happen.
Yeah, I think Duran gave him he
15
gave him
and
some
11.
buckets, you know. What he give him?
15 and 11.
Yeah, see, and then I think the previous game they benched him or something, right?
Who Dorian? Yeah, because his replacement was playing better than him.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. No, I thought it was because, he was stinking up the joint.
Yeah, he was. And his backup was playing better, so they had to leave him in. Because the game before that, his backup was playing better than him, but they took the backup out and put him back in there.
Damn, so he been stinking up the joint up.
Yeah, Dorian ain't been who he was in the regular season, but he ain't got no
Damn.
offensive game. He a hustle player, but everybody hustling in the playoffs. It's clutch time. It's crunch time.
But he put a couple moves together the other day, a couple spin moves together. I was like, damn, that was ugly there. That was nice.
He
Quick, like I thought, I'm like, damn, he looked like that was Elijah Waness, you know?
well, the Pistons need some more of that.
Yeah.
They
I'm
need
like, damn, okay.
he got to work on his game this summer for sure.
Yeah.
But
He got the potential. I see it in him,
yeah,
The potential is there.
he's still young, but
Yeah,
Pistons probably gonna need to go get them another score because K gonna need some help.
as- yeah, exactly.
They can go snatch maybe Kyrie from the Mavericks or something.
Ooh. Ooh.
Uh,
They get Kyrie.
yeah, they need another score.
That'd be a deadly combination right there.
But we was just talking about James Harden and and how he might perform in Game 7. So if he do stank the joint up in Game 7, how would that affect his legacy?
That's just gonna cement it, in my opinion. After this, no matter what he does after this, is over with. If he stinks up the joint in this game 7 to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, it cements it that uh he's just another a great scorer, another uh unclutch player. It's gonna be nasty for him, man, especially if he come out 4 for 20 or something like that. 8 turnovers, 6 turnovers. Man, I don't know if another team will give him another a real contract after this. It's veteran minimums after this. Think up a joint.
You may say he gonna be another Carmelo basically if he stank this joint up.
Yeah,
Yeah, if he stank this joint up, man, I hope he don't, cause James Harden one of my favorite players, but you got to be real. If he stank it up this time, I agree. He gonna always be known as a playoff choker. And
man.
I don't even think if he stank it up, I don't even think he gonna go like 6 for 20. Cause when he's stanking it up, he ain't shooting that many times. In Game 7s, he don't be shooting for real. He be shooting like 12 times, knowing we need you to give up like 20 shots.
Right.
He just go 2 for 11 or something. Like I could see him doing something like that. But you know what? I'm a bet that James Harden gonna play good this game. Every dog got his day. I feel like this gonna be James Harden game where he just explode, maybe have 30 points, shoot real good. I ain't confident in saying this. I just hope he do it. I ain't confident at all.
Right.
I think he more than likely gonna stank it up. But I'm hoping he don't. I would like to see the Cavs move on because I like they got offense. They got more offense than Detroit. Detroit is K to nothing. With the Cavs, you got Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, Jerry. I would like to see
Exactly.
versus that Knicks team over the
Right.
Pistons personally because I think
Just those names.
yeah, they got more firepower. But
Yeah.
Detroit play defense. They gonna make the game dirty, and that's why I don't see James Harden getting off because they gonna make it real dirty and they gonna make it hard on him. And he turns the ball over too much, and you can't do that in Game 7. Or they gonna be going home. So I do think he gonna stank it up, but I'm hoping he
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I'm hoping not either, man. I'm hoping that's not the case either, man. Yeah, but now we need to talk about if he comes out and give him 25 or 30 now, what is that going to do for his legacy? What do you think?
I don't know if it really gonna do nothing too crazy because all of the bad games he did have, and it will only be getting him to the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, if he was to do that in the championship, that'd be different. But if he stank it up, this is like okay, we seen you stank it up too many times. We can't let you get off the hook. If he go
Uh,
out there and play good, I feel like everybody be like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we expect you to do. So I don't think nobody will really go too crazy about it.
I think it'll be sort of some redemption for him,
Yeah,
especially if he's like the reason they win this game 7. I think it'll take some the stink off his name, that he's head over these last few playoffs runs. So I think it'll be I think it'd be big for him, but it wouldn't be career changing. But it'll be, something that you can say, hey, remember in 26 when James, uh, 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 gave them folks the business. So if he can come through with 25, 30 and a victory,
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like it'll do wonders for his confidence. It'll do wonders for his confidence. I feel like he do need this for his confidence. If he can have a big game 7 going into the next series versus the Knicks, I feel like that'll be big for him. He'll have momentum off of that, knowing he can perform in these big moments. So he need this for his confidence because he know them stats. He hear the noise. He know what everybody's saying. So
Yep.
he really need a big game for his confidence.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. We may think this don't affect him mentally, but I think it does, man. Like you said, they all hear the noise, you know, and people in the crowds be yelling shit,
Yeah.
so they all hear it.
And they gonna be in Detroit. They gonna be like crazy in Detroit.
Yeah, yeah. That's why they got into a fight with the fans. They had two incidents, right, where the players got into it with the fans. So that was just one time.
You talking
And
about Palace of the Palace with Metal Order Peace?
I remember at the Palace, did it happen again?
I don't know.
Or maybe not. But I remember the malice at the Palace though. I thought it happened the second time.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
But back to the Western Conference Finals, game on the line in the clutch situations. Who you want, Shea or Wemby?
Taking that 7'5" monster, man. I'm taking you know, a dude that's arguably gonna be top 3 in the NBA history. If he can stay healthy. So yeah, man. I mean, once he gets to his apex, like who can bother his shot? If he can get within 15 or 20 feet of that rim and he gets to his apex, who can bother that shot? So that's we're talking about some Shaquille O'Neal type of presence, on a different type of level though. Shaq 3 feet around the rim was a bucket. Wemby 15, 20 feet at his highest elevation, a bucket. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna have to take Wemby.
Yeah, I'm gonna read you some stats about OKC. OKC is 20-7 in a clutch. Shea got 175 points in the clutch, first in the NBA. He averaging 6.5 points per game in the clutch, first in the NBA. He made 52 field goals in the clutch, first in the NBA. He's shooting 51% in the clutch. He done made 16 shots in the final minutes of overtime, first in the NBA. He made 15 go-ahead shots in the clutch in the final 5 minutes, first in the NBA.
Okay.
So, and he probably finna win Clutch Player of the Year this year. He been the best clutch by the numbers. He been the best player in the clutch this season. So I'm gonna have to go with Shea with that.
But just for that reason, that's why he's gonna win an MVP. Then I didn't know he was putting in work like that. I knew he was top 3, maybe. I didn't know he was leading the pack like that. Yeah, so he's gonna get MVP.
Now,
But you saying you're gonna go with him. 5 minutes left. That excuse me, but 5 minutes left. That's considered clutch time. You're gonna go with Shea over Wemby. That 5 minute stretch.
yeah, I think it was playing the Lakers or the Suns. They posted a stat where they said he made like 16 of his last 17 shots in the fourth quarter.
Game on the line. Down 2.
Give me Shea. Give me Shea. I'm gonna say give me.
10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. You going with Shea?
I'm going with Shea. I'm gonna say Shea because Shea gonna get to his spot. Wemby like to shoot that long ball. Shea gonna go get that mid range. He gonna get to his spot. That's why I feel like I'll take Shea for Shea playing his game. Sometimes I feel like Wemby shoot too many threes. He letting the defender off the hook shooting all them threes. Cause Wemby put his head down and he go, like you said, who can deal with him? Nobody. I
Exactly.
would love if I'm guarding Wemby, shoot as many threes as you want to shoot. I would love you to
Exactly.
keep shooting them threes. Shea really not gonna let you off the hook as much. He gonna go get to his spot. He gonna go get to his mid range. He gonna go try to lay it up. Wemby do it too. But you look at that game one against the Timberwolves, they lost that game because Wemby went 0 for 8 from the 3-point line. He was shooting too many threes. You got it. That's why I say Shea, because like I said, I feel like he gonna go get to his spot, gonna go get to his money spot, and he gonna let it. He gonna go from there.
It says money spot,
Yep. But
huh?
like I said, moving forward after this season, I think it's gonna be Wemby League. But I just think he gonna have to face that disappointment this one year, cause this is his first postseason run. You telling me he finna just go and just run the table like that his first time in the everybody had to face that
Magic Johnson did it.
that was in the 80s though. You know, they was Spurs back then, man. That was in the 80s.
Yeah, but I can say the league now is as far as talent is just about even. In the 80s, it wasn't talent. Every team was mediocre. So we could say it is what it is. They won in that era at that time. He was a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shea, what's this? What's this? Is fourth or fifth year or something?
Nah, this probably Shea like 8th year or something.
Damn, really?
Yup. Let me look. He been in the league. Yeah, this is 8th year. He been in the league for 8 seasons.
Damn, okay.
He got drafted in 2018. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, he been in the league for a minute.
Yeah, he got a few miles on him, but yeah, I'm still and that's another reason I'm gonna have to go with Wemby then.
Yeah. But what would that do for Shea legacy though? If he was to, cause he gonna be the MVP this year, so that'd be back-to-back MVPs. If he go to the
Yep.
finals and win Finals MVP, that'd be back-to-back championship, back-to-back MVPs, back-to-back Finals MVPs. Do that move him into the upper echelon of guards?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. If Isaiah Thomas is up there with 2 championships, this would definitely put Shea. Skip this Hugan. This would definitely put Shea in that category. 2 MVPs, 2 Finals MVPs, 2 championships. Yeah, you would have to put him right there with Curry. Uh, you know, or just what are we talking about? Point guards or shooting guards?
Well, he's classified as a point guard.
Okay, so yeah, we have to put him right there with Curry, Isaiah, John Stockton. Even though Stockton didn't win one.
You think
Uh,
put him in front of Isaiah?
uh, yeah. I will put him in front of Isaiah as a better scorer.
Yeah, he a better scorer for sure. But better,
Yeah.
you think he a better player? Would that make him a better player? Like if your all time rankings, would he be in front of Isaiah?
No, just because of the era.
You said no.
Mm-mm.
Let me say Isaiah for his career, the most he ever averaged was 22. The highest he ever finished in the MVP race was 5.
Offensively, yeah, Shea is better, but during that era, 90s ball, 80s ball, do you think Shea would be Shea? That's the question.
Well, that's them hard questions because I'm not gonna lie, Shea don't flop a lot, and back then
So we can't
they not calling
so we
that.
say we can't say Shea is better or anybody from either era is better because they played,
Yeah,
much eras. But we could say offensively, yeah, Shea is a better player. And plus back then they wasn't as advanced as these players are now. They didn't have all this and one basketball, type motion, back then that they have now.
yeah. Man, it was a season Isaiah Thomas averaged 21, and basically 14 assists.
Damn, really?
Yep. He had to have the losing season that season because he finished ninth in the MVP race.
What year was that?
That was 1994 to 85 season. He
My,
averaged
80. You say 84 to 85?
yeah,
Oh shit.
he averaged
Uh,
21 and 14. Crazy. Who won? Larry Bird
yeah,
won that year.
that's around time Larry Bird won 3 straight, right?
Yep, Larry Bird won that year.
Yeah, I think he won 3 straight, right?
Yeah, Larry Bird won 3 straight. Larry Bird came in first. Magic Johnson came in second. Moses Malone was in third. Kareem was in fourth. Terry Cummings was fifth. Michael Jordan was sixth. Bernard King
Dang,
was seventh. Sidney Moncrief was eighth. Isaiah Thomas was nine.
damn, those were some ballers right there.
That was.
Those were ballers, boy.
Yeah, Larry Bird averaged 28, 10, and 6. That's why he won.
Yeah, I started watching basketball, I think around 86, 87.
So that was probably that right after that year for real.
Right, yeah. I think I was like 8 to 10 years old, somewhere up in there.
Yeah. But I do feel like this will push Shea in the upper echelons, like maybe behind Isaiah Thomas. I think this will make him a top 5 point guard if you want to classify him as point guard. Because, point guards today
Yeah.
really shooting guards masquerading as point guards. But I feel like
Definitely have to put him in the top 5, yeah.
you'll have to put him in the top 5 because I don't think you can put him in front of Magic right now. Can't put him in front of Steph. Probably can't put him in front of Isaiah. But I think you can put him number 4.
Well, as far as accomplishments, if we're gonna do that, then yeah, we're gonna have to put him in because it'd be the 2-time MVP.
Yep. And I think
He led the team.
he been averaging 30 the last 4 years.
Damn, really?
He been averaging 30 the last 4 years.
Damn. So from his 4th season, he's been putting up 30 since his 4th season, huh?
Yep, he putting up 31 this year.
Dang.
Highest field goal percentage from a guard while averaging 30. He passed Michael Jordan doing that because Mike was shooting like 53 or 52%. He was shooting 55.
Damn.
Yep. He didn't average 30. Hold on. Let me make sure. But he been averaging 30 probably for the last 4 seasons. He a baller. He a baller though for sure.
Yeah. Clippers, the Clippers gave him away for
Paul George.
Paul George.
They gave
Wow.
Paul George and all their picks.
Dang.
Yep, he been averaging 31. He been averaging 30 the last 4 years. He averaged 31.1 this year. He averaged 32.7 last year. He averaged 30.1 the year before that. He averaged 31.4 the year before that one.
Who pulled the trigger on that move? To send Shea over there for Paul George. Was that Lawrence Frank?
Basically, Kawhi Leonard.
But was Lawrence Frank the GM at that time, or was it Doc Rivers?
No, it wasn't Doc Rivers. It wasn't Doc Rivers.
Somebody should have been fired for that.
But they was getting Kawhi. They was getting Kawhi. Kawhi just came off of taking Toronto to the championship, and he told them, "I want Paul George." You like, I want Paul George. If you don't give me Paul George, he's gonna go play with Bron and AD. So they had to make
He
that.
got monsters basically.
Yep. And you gotta remember, Paul George is just coming off an MVP caliber season. Cause I think he finished like second or third in the MVP race the year before that. He averaged like 28 points.
And I think they should have won the championship. What happened that year?
They blew that 3-1 lead against the Nuggets in the bubble.
Right. Was Westbrook who was with them at that time?
No, that's when they had a squad. They had Kawhi, they had Paul George. Remember they had Lou Will and Montrezl Harris coming off the bench.
Right.
They had Patrick Beverly on that team. I think they had Zubac. They had a team over there. They had a Morris twin. And the Clippers winning that championship. They had a squad over there.
They were that's the year the Lakers won, right?
That's the year the Lakers won.
Yeah, that should have been the Clippers championship. Because the Lakers couldn't beat them that year.
Lakers couldn't beat them that year. But they blew that 3-1 lead against the Nuggets. I was waiting for the Lakers and the Clippers, but they sold. But the Clippers kicking themselves. But they didn't know he was gonna be this. They didn't know he was gonna be this.
Yeah, exactly.
So they thinking, they was thinking like, we finna win us a championship. Yeah, y'all can take him. But I understand
Yeah.
sending Shea away. I don't understand sending all them picks with him. You done sent Shea in the whole future of the franchise with him.
Yeah, exactly. I could see maybe one pick, a
Yeah,
second rounder, yeah. But nah, they gave away too much.
way too much. They probably
Yeah,
gave away half of that and still got because they gave them a lot. Like I knew it
exactly,
ain't take that much to get Paul George, bro.
exactly.
And Paul George a baller, but man, that's something you give up for LeBron James or somebody, not no Paul.
Back at that time, yeah,
Like,
definitely.
yeah, like they tripping.
I think that was Lawrence Frank, man. They should have fired him, man. Whatever his name is, Lawrence Frank. He should be fired.
Yeah,
He just stunk up the office, man.
but they got lucky now because they got the Pacers fifth pick, but hopefully that's gonna be enough.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what. Because I know Boozer, AJ, and I think what's the guy Peterson. Those are the top three, right?
Yep, and then after them you got Caleb Wilson and Acuff. They saying Acuff might go 5. They think Wilson might go to the Bulls.
Okay, okay. It's like you said, it's time for the Bulls to get back into the major TV scene again too, playoffs and making deep runs and everything because of that fan base up there. It's heavy.
Yeah. But that's our show today. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button. We'll be back next Saturday. Peace.